Misha, you learn STEM for nothing, in this one for nothing, but you have to make a living. He says, look, my dear, I used to call my mother Esther, my crane. Crane is, you know, always Esther, my crane. That's what I remember. If the children doesn't have a father or a mother, and they haven't got money for what to pay, for what don't they blind me not to know nothing, if I have the opportunity to give them, they should know in life how to write, how to read, you know. So my mother said, if that's the case, go ahead. They had a nice house, in the back a nice yard. There was potatoes, there was onions, there was a lot of things, vegetables, you know. And they used to have a winter potatoes and things like that. It's different life, completely different. You have to put in for the winter potatoes, onions, because, you know, not to go in the store. If you have a yard, you could do it. So that's the way, what I remember. My parents was very good to people, to the neighbors. I know neighbors. There was a neighbor, he went, had a family, and he went to the States. He left a wife with 4 children. He was a couple of years there, he made a lot of money, and he came back. But he was very rotten to his wife. I remember her name was Shane, and she was a very nice woman. She used to come to my mother, say, ausweinen. My mother was very good. She used to say, Schönele. You should remember one thing. Es ist ein Zorre, so das Kleingedeuern. Es ist besser mit ihm, instead of without him. He used to close in a cupboard a piece of bread. If they want, the children want a piece of bread, they used to give them like that. And my mother used to say to her, don't worry, Sheinele, he'll get old there, he'll get better, you know. My mother was a very good-hearted person. Both of them, my father and my mother, very good-hearted people. And then it came, in 1914, came the war. They made nothing. The house was burned up. And
who burned the house?
Pardon?
Who burned the house? How did the house burn?
The Deutschen. The Deutschen, sogar, the Polacken. Polish people.
Was it
They
burned?
They made a nothing of everything.
Was it a military or was it a
From
pogrom?
the military.
Or was it a pogrom?
Of course.
Okay.
So my father, you know, he was a delicate person. He couldn't do other work. And here, the children is here, they're there, you know, it's different.
So during this pogrom, were there a lot of pogroms?
It wasn't a pogrom, it was a war.
So why did
In
they...
1940.
Of course, I understand, but why? Did you see any pogroms? Did you ever experience a pogrom?
No, not exactly.
Good.
So we went in a little house, like a Christian house, very small one, nothing, one little room, and the roof was from straw, a straw. When it was raining, went in the rain, and I went with a pot in herausgeschöpfte Wasser, rausgegossen. And it was small little beds. I was sleeping with my mother. And my brother had a little bed, and the other one was like, it calls a tapchan. A big not a couch, but for wood. It was not so great, believe you me. I didn't have any shoes. I didn't have nothing.
And you had a good, comfortable life before that.
Pardon?
Your life was good and comfortable before that. You had a nice life before.
Before I was a baby. They were very happy with me because I was born after my brother. I think you remember my brother Janko.
Yeah.
I was 7 years younger than him. So I was a baby and my father, my mother didn't know what to do. Between 5 boys having a girl, I was very...
Did Yankel serve in the army? Did any of your brothers go to the army other than the first one you mentioned?
My brother was in the army, sure. He also was in the army too. He went to the army and came from the army. He got married with me. Before I went to the army, we were engaged. And then we got married, he went to Canada.
During World War I, were there any, did the Germans, the Deutschen, did the Germans come to Antipol?
Yeah, they were
And
there.
did they force labor on you or your family or
No,
anybody?
they didn't force it on.
Hello, sorry.
Hi, come in.
War. We were talking about the war, and I asked you about when the Deutschen came. I know that Aby, your brother-in-law, he was forced into labor. He was forced to work.
No.
He told me that he was.
No. They didn't, I don't think so. I don't remember that.
No?
But I remember, like, I was very hungry. And the German was in one place. So I said to my mother, I'm going to ask for something for the German. So I came over and I said, could I have a biscuit? He said, yes, Mädchen, yes. They took me, you know, I was a little girl. They took me around and they gave me a bunch of biscuit. Zwieback haben sie das gerufen. And every day I used to go and ask for biscuit. And they give it to me.
You're lucky.
But if they have to kill so many people, they kill them. So my brother Bill had, like I told you, 2 children, and the German killed them in the Second War.
In the Second War. They killed all of them.
The Second War.
Who else did you lose to Hitler? Who else did you lose in the Second World War?
I lost my brother, his wife, and 2 children, and a lot of cousins.
Yeah.
A lot of cousins. We were a very big family.
And how many people were able to get out?
We were out from under Polen.
Yeah.
Well,
To America, you know.
a lot of people was out. A lot of people. Now it's no Jew there. Only Polish people, Russian people, the people from before, they died. It's youngsters.
Yeah.
I don't know what is there. Listen, you know how many years? I was 70 years. It's a lifetime.
Yeah.
So we went through a lot of bad things being in Canada, me and my husband. But always with a smile. I never argued with my husband. I never have an argument. He was very nice to me. He never he never said, where is the money? What are you doing with the money? If I ask him, why don't you ask what I'm doing with that money? He used to come with the pay, give it to me. He says, that's what I have and that's what I give it to you. But I was not stingy, but very economic. I knew exactly what I have to do. So one day I said, why don't you ask me what I'm doing? He says to me one thing, Raizel, if I can trust you, you wouldn't have been my wife. Was a nice answer. That's the way I was living for 50 years, being married to him. We have ups and downs in different things, but not like arguments. He used to come once, it didn't work. For a nice couple of months. And I only had Meisha there that time. He came from the street and he says, I don't know what to do. I says, what do you mean? He started to cry. You know, when a man cries, it breaks your heart. He says, what are you crying? He says, I can't make a living. What is going to be? I says to him, come at me. He said, where do you want to take me? I says, come at me. I took him by the hand, I brought him to the window. And he says, what do you bring me to the window? He says, look at the sky. You think that cloud will be always with us? Tomorrow could be the sun. And don't worry, I don't want you should cry. I says, I am the one I suffer. I have a baby. I give it up a room for a boarder. I give him 3 meals to eat. I couldn't go to work and leave the baby. I didn't have with who to live. And if I live with a babysitter, I have to pay. So I had a boarder. I had not one boarder, a lot of boarders.
Did you ever work? Did you ever work?
I never worked outside. I had boarders in the house. I had, you know, the Turkish part. I was next to the Turkish part. I was living.
This is in Montreal or Toronto?
Montreal.
In Montreal. What street? Which street? Do you remember?
In Montreal, on the Jersey.
Yeah.
In then on, no, in Montreal.
Montreal.
In Montreal, on near the Turkish part, Colonial.
Okay, Colonial.
Colonial. So I said, my landlord was in the same building. I was on the 2nd floor, they were on the 3rd. So from 12 till 1 at night in a Tuesday used to be for women. You know, the women used to order sandwich and coffee. You know, it was rich women used to come for massages or whatever. So it came into my head, maybe I'll make a few dollars. I start to peddle with dry goods.
What kind of dry goods?
Sheets, pillowcases, blankets, towels. So I asked him if I could go in to sell it. My landlord says, by all means, you could go in. Aprons, you know, a lot of things. And then I see they order sandwiches with coffee. So I said to my landlord, could I bring it in? They order sandwiches and coffee. Maybe I could bring it in. So I asked the woman, what do you want? I could bring you in. So I used to make sandwiches and coffee from 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock at night. I used to come with a pocket with money, you know. And I used to sell things. That's the way I helped my husband. I used to say, oh my goodness, you work so hard. I used to have men's shirt, you know, to sell. I didn't buy it regularly. I had people should send me to the factories. So I came to a factory, they had men's shirt. You know, they had the yoke no good, sleeve is no good. They used to interrabal, it's no good. So I used to come and I didn't ask how much it is. I said, how much is. He told me that a few dollars. So took it in, everything for their ball, their bag. And I used to come home. I had 2 sewing machines. And I was sitting till 2, 3 o'clock at night, fix the yoke, fix this, and sometimes buttons. I made it regularly, and I used to sell.
Very nice. I want to ask you some more questions about the old country, okay? Because I forgot to ask you. I wanted you to tell me, did you know your Bubby and Zadie? Were they alive?
I had one Bobby, what I remember.
What was her name?
I didn't have no Zadies.
What was her name?
Jente.
Jente.
Jente Telebende.
And this was your mother's mother?
My father's mother. I didn't know my mother's. They were dead.
Okay.
One Bobby. But she was a very nice little lady.
And did she live with you in Antipol?
No, yeah, she lived in Antipole with her older son, Schleime.
Schleime is your uncle?
My uncle, yeah, Schleime Wolansky.
And I have one more question about the old country.
Yeah,
I have lots of questions. Did you ever meet Yosel's mother and father? Did you meet the family?
I met his father.
What was he like?
Okay.
What was he like? What was his father like?
He was a very small man, very small, and he was crippled from arthritis. The hand, the feet, even his speech. You know Auntie Sarah?
Yeah.
You see Auntie Sarah? The image of his father. He was crippled all over. And his speech was no good. But Hamke was a beautiful, beautiful girl. She wasn't a beauty, but she was a very good. Do you remember Uncle Abby?
Of course, he was the best.
Exactly like Uncle Abby. The nature and everything. Completely different like Zoe.
How did you meet?
It was a wedding. Josel's uncle's dad was married in Prugene. And I was married already to Josel. So they invited me to the wedding. And I have my brother Janko. Do you remember my brother Janko?
From Chicago.
In Chicago, that's right. Stuck with the cop.
Yeah, I met him once on Dillapeltry.
He was a wonderful man. So he was a little bit in business. I didn't have money to go to the wedding. So my brother said, Raizel, you have to meet the family. Here's a couple of zlotys instead of dollars. Zlotys.
Zlotys.
Here's a couple of zlotys. You go. So I went to Prugene. I went to the wedding. Hamke was there. And then after the wedding, I went with Hamke to Shershev. And I met his father.
Was it nice?
Oh, yeah, he was so nice to me.
How did they live? What was their house like? And
He used to say to me when I came in, he says, you know, everything comes back to me.
good.
When I was engaged to Yosel, and he was in the army already, and you know that in Europe they used to make a yerid. A yerid made like a market. You know, they used to come from all the countries, from the villages. They used to bring things, the eggs, the fruit, chickens, all kind of things, you know. So I didn't have it myself, anything. And I used to make a parcel all the time, cheese, or I used to bake something. I didn't know Josel's father, and I used to send it to him with the people when they used to come to the market.
Right.
Now, when I came to see him, he grabbed me, he said, finally I could see who sent me in many things. And he says, you know, Yosel is my son, but I think you more my daughter.
Good. Beautiful.
That's what Uncle Abe used to say to me. Yosel's my brother, but you're my sister. I was very good to them, to the family. And then when Shai and Meishe was already big boys, there was, Shai was 2.5 years old, 2.5 years older like Meishe. So I came and I said to Sylvie, we have to make a Passover. The boy is getting bigger,